Gracias. Spanish intro concluded.
Thank you very much. Mandarin interpreters, you have the floor, please. Give your instructions.
大家好，我需要这个中文翻译的话，请拨打号码347-966-4114，并输入 ID 号237-985-343井号。电话号码再重复一遍：347-966-4114，并输入 ID 号237-985-343井号。请在电话线上保持静音，非常感谢。The Mandarin announcement has been made. You may now proceed.
Thank you. We will now call this meeting to order. The time is 6:10 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to everyone here participating. We value your time and input. As you know, we are here tonight to review the 5-year capital plan for fiscal years 2024 through 2029 and its effect on District 75 and children with disabilities. This information also takes into account enrollment and capacity of our schools. We will also review submitted items that are in the need of repair within District 75 programs and sites brought to our attention that are still pending. Tonight's presentation will be by Ms. Tamar Smith from the School Construction Authority, followed by a Q&A session. Without further ado, the floor is yours, Ms. Smith. Thank you again for being here tonight.
Thank you so much, Ms. Daniels and CEC75. Just making sure that you can hear me. I apologize. Okay, thank you so much. All right, I'm going to share the screen and hopefully, okay, I'm getting a message, host disabled participant screen sharing. If you wouldn't mind.
You able to fix that, please?
I did. I made her host.
Okay, let me just try again.
For reason.
Um,
You said host disabled you said host disabled what?
The screen sharing. So I'll try again. I'll just keep, I keep getting the same
Let
message.
me reclaim it and I'll turn it back to you. I'm sorry.
Great, thank you. No problem.
Okay, thank you, Haley.
I'm having my own issues here. All right.
Whoever is host, if you go to share, click on multiple participants can share.
Okay, I see I am the host now. Thank you so much. All right, let me try. No, okay. Having an issue still.
Haylene, are we able to share the presentation that they gave us this afternoon and then maybe let her lead with the audio?
I'd be grateful if you wouldn't mind opening that up.
I'm so sorry about that.
No, it's having an issue here too. So,
all right.
Technology issues always.
It's good and it's bad, right? Okay. So just let me know when folks can see the cover page and then I'll start.
Okay, will do.
All right.
I don't see anything yet.
Okay,
The
all
screen is
right,
up.
I see it. Thank you so much. I don't know if, yeah, I guess this will do. We have the email on the side, but I hope that that's okay. We'll go through it. And if you wouldn't mind, if I say next, going to the next slide, I really, really appreciate it. All right, so I'll just start whenever you're ready. I'm so sorry about all this.
You can start, Ms. Smith.
All right. Okay. So thank you again. It's so good to see you all. I really appreciate you having us tonight. And I wish you all at Ccd75 a happy new year. I'm Tamar Smith from the New York City School Construction Authority. And as Ms. Daniels was saying, tonight I'm going to be going over the 5-year capital plan. So tonight is actually going to be a little bit longer and a little bit different than usual, because what I'm going to be doing is going over the current plan, because we're in the very last year of the plan. We're going into the last 6 months of the current 5-year plan. Oops. Now I'm just seeing the email. And then I'm going to be talking about the brand new plan, which was issued in November. And so it's going to be a lot of information. And at the end, of course, there'll be time for question and answer.
I can't do it.
Could we maybe just click on that PDF, that first one, and open it up?
Yeah, are you referring to this one, the agenda?
No, the very first item in this email here, CEC. It was, I could see it, and now I'm just seeing the email. Are you able to open that up?
Yes.
Okay,
You're referring to the Ccd75 PDF?
exactly. Yep, that's the presentation. So as soon as that gets up. So tonight there'll be a lot of information. Perfect. Thank you so much. There'll be lots of information and more than usual. But what we want to do is go over, so here's the agenda. And as I said, we'll be giving an overview of the last part of the fiscal year plan. As you see, we're right at the tail end of the 2020 to 24 plan. And then in July, the fiscal year starts with a brand new plan. And it just came out in November, this past November. And that'll lay out the next 5 years of all of our projects and processes. So we'll be going over some plan highlights, the capacity program, the capital improvement program, the RESOA, which is the funding we get from elected officials for additional projects, and our mentor and MWLBE projects, and then the proposed 5-year capital plan for fiscal year 2025 through 2029. Now, the reason we say proposed is because right here is part of our process. We go along to all of you every year, all the CECs in the city, and we present it. And then, and only then, does it go to the city council and then ultimately to the mayor for approval. So right now, it's still considered a proposed 5-year capital plan. So we'll talk about plan highlights, the proposed capacity program, and then we'll go over the comment form and, of course, questions and comments. And I'll try my best to answer questions, and anything I can't answer, I'll take notes and get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, so thank you so much. We'll keep on scrolling. So the February 2023 proposed plan. So citywide highlights, and this really goes back to the current plan we're in and the past 5 years. So the current plan has $7.95 billion in capacity, $750 million dedicated to accessibility, $400 million for electrification, over $1 billion for technology, And it has 317 million for the removal of TCUs, which we parents call trailers, and playground redevelopment when that is necessary. All right, next one, please. All right, and so the 2020 to 2024 capital plan, the total plan right now is $17.4 billion. And as I was saying, it's divided up into big categories, and these are the three main categories. Capacity, that's all your brand new schools, your additions, leased build outs, anything that adds seats to the system. And capital improvement, that's fixing and maintaining our current buildings, 7.94 billion. And then mandated programs, 3.47 billion. And those are programs that come about because of new legislation. Could be local, state, or federal legislation. Okay, next, please. All right, and then to look further into each of those categories, or one of them in particular, the capacity program. As I was saying, it's almost $8 billion dedicated to brand new seats. So 5.52 to new capacity, 806 million to replacement programs. That is, if we have to move a school to a new building, 605 million for class size reduction, 267, as I was mentioning, to remove trailers and fix up playgrounds where trailers have been. And then 756 million to early education, pre-K and 3K programs. Okay, next, please. Now, as part of this 5-year capital plan, we wanted to show you capacity for District 75 seats that some, if you look, have been opened, and others are still in the pipeline for the next few years. So there are quite a few. These are a selection. It's not every single school with seats, but we thought that this gave a really good overview from Brooklyn to Queens to the Bronx, and to really show, and it then shows you a total capacity of a brand new school, and then the number of District 75 seats. And then we have here the anticipated occupancy. So even though these have been planned and went into construction during this current plan, some of them won't open for a few years. So we see the opening dates here. Okay, next, please. And then here are some of our beautiful new schools. Some of them you can see our renderings because the construction is underway. Some of them opened in the last couple of years. Down here at the bottom is the Richard Hungerford School in Staten Island. There is a beautiful new addition in Queens, MS 419. St. Anne's Avenue, X 487 in the works for the Bronx. The school at 86th Street in Brooklyn in construction, and then another addition in Queens. So all of these will contain District 75 seats. And it's just, again, a selection of the many buildings that we're building around the city. Next, please. Okay, so capital improvements. So this is another huge focus of the SCA. And that's to maintain, keep safe, keep warm and dry the buildings that we have in our portfolio. And that's nearly 1,400 school buildings. And about half of them are edging on 100 years old. So it's a major focus of ours at all times to keep the buildings watertight, because nothing destroys a building faster than water infiltration, and to keep the major systems working well. So I always say, when you see a building, covered from head to toe in netting and scaffolding, that's the SCA work. That's the work that we do. So then people often ask, how does a capital need become a project? And here are all the different parallel ways that this works. So major projects, as you see listed here: exterior masonry, windows, flood elimination, accessibility projects, playground upgrades, auditoriums, all of these things. And many of the categories that you'll see, are more in depth in the capital plan. So each year we have a team that go out from the SCA engineers and architects and assesses buildings from top to bottom and everything in between. And that's the resulting report, which you can see on your child's DOE page, and you can click on facilities and actually see the reports. And this is called a BCAS, the Building Condition Assessment Survey. So that's a very important tool for us to look at every single part of a building and see what's coming up and what may need to become a capital project. Then we work with DSF. DSF is the Division for School Facilities. The custodians work for DSF as part of the DOE. We're separate agencies, but we work together closely. And when DSF sees a condition that may need to become a capital project, they refer things to us. Then there are mandated repairs. There are some projects that we absolutely must do. That's part of the mandated programs. Any kind of emergency repair, after a rainstorm or something, if something comes off a building, we need to react quickly to fix that. Then there's RESOA, which I mentioned is funding from our capital, in our capital plan from our elected officials. They can give us funding for projects that aren't yet in the capital plan. And then, of course, CEC requests that we do every year. Okay, next slide, please. And so the next bunch of slides is really a lot of information that we'll go over quickly, but I wanted to show you the breadth of what we're doing for capital improvement around the city in every borough. So for example, here are some Brooklyn highlights, and you have this presentation so you can look more carefully. And of course, the capital plan has lots of detail. But these are the top level kinds of things, and you can see accessibility, climate control, exterior masonry. So we can go over these quickly, but there's a chart for each borough highlighting what we've done. Next, please. And now we see the Bronx. Next, Manhattan, CIP highlights, Queens, and of course, Staten Island. All right, thank you so much. And then here we have some photos of the kinds of projects that we do. Each of these photos happen to happen in a school that has a District 75 component. But you can see the really wide range of things that we work on. Playground upgrades, auditoriums, cafeterias, athletic fields, and so forth. Okay, next, please. And again, RESOA projects are school-funded projects by members of the City Council, the Borough President's Office, individual grants occasionally. And we're really grateful for this. And the elected officials generally work directly with schools who will talk about projects that they really want. And then the money gets flows to us and we're able to do the projects. So here's an example of one. And again, the next few slides are really highlights of RESOA projects. And you can really see, there's the Bronx. It's fine to go through it fast. The real wide range of stuff that we've been able to do because of RESOA funding in every borough over the last few years. Thank you so much. All right, and so here we wanted to highlight the SCA, just by virtue of being in New York City and the largest school system in the country, is also one of the largest employers of contracting firms, construction firms of all kinds. And so we have a huge focus on developing the next generations of people in the city who could benefit from having these contracts flow to them. So specifically dedicated to increasing participation of minority-owned, women-owned, and locally based business enterprises, that's MWLBEs, on SCA projects, including through targets on our projects. And we run a mentor program, which provides key support and access to capital and business opportunities for qualified emerging MWLBEs. So the next slide, we wanted to show you citywide in fiscal year 23. So that's just in 1 year. The SCA awarded over $1 billion in prime MWLBE contracts across 820 projects to 139 of these firms. And then in the same year, a mentor program to the emerging contractors awarded over $143 million in these contracts across 248 projects to 106 firms. So this is a major commitment of ours. Okay, next, please. All right, I know that was a lot. So now I'm just going to switch to the proposed new 5-year capital plan. So you'll see fiscal year 2025 through 2029. And again, this will start in July as the old one ends. Okay, and so the proposed new capital plan for right now is $17 billion. And this is how this breaks down. And then we have a new category called healthy schools, which I'll describe in a slide that's coming up. But this is how this breaks down now. 4.98 billion for capacity, 2.25 billion for healthy schools, capital improvement, as you see, and mandated projects. Okay, next, please. And, you know, similar to the current plan, these are the major projects, the major kind of categories. So we have new capacity, electrification, and the amounts are here. 1.25 billion for technology, 800 million for accessibility, physical space upgrades you see highlighted here, and a nice project called well, more than nice, it's a lot of money devoted to this because it's an initiative of the mayor's, the Cafeteria Enhancement Experience, $150 million, which fixes up cafeterias and makes them places where kids have healthier choices and much more attractive facilities. Right, and next, again, the capacity program broken down, very similar to what you saw, slightly different numbers, but continuing our focus on new schools. Next, oh, and here's the healthy schools highlights, as I was mentioning. So this new category in the capital plan continues investing in electrification and replacing boilers to be more environmentally friendly and use different heating oil, creating health and nutrition learning spaces with a focus on underserved neighborhoods, more funding allocated to upgrading athletic facilities, including fields, pools, gyms, and playgrounds, and continued implementation of the cafeteria experience enhancement, as I mentioned. All right, and again, so here you'll see the similar charts. There aren't as many projects on them, as, of course, because we haven't even started the new capital plan. And so some things have been identified, but the capital plan is a living document. And each year, projects are added so that by the end, in 4 years, when I come before you, we'll have all of those dozens and dozens of projects in each borough. But as you see, the next few slides just show some of the projects that are identified right now in each borough. All right, I've completely overwhelmed you with charts. And that brings me to the end. And here's that form that you fill out each year, and we ask you to do it again. I'm glad we're meeting tonight. The form is due this Friday, January 13th, I think it is. Is that the date? Yeah. So thank you so much. And any questions that you have about this, we have someone at the SCA who can help answer those. All right, so I open up the floor now to however you want to handle questions and answers. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Actually, that's January 12th on Friday.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Correct. Okay. Christy Angel, are you on?
I am. Thank you, Ms. Smith and Co-President Daniels. Do we have any council members that have questions about the presentation or anything that they've heard here tonight?
I don't have no question. But we do have our public advocate appointee on here if we want to introduce him, if that's appropriate.
Yes, we can allow Mr. Herman to introduce himself briefly so that the public can get to know him as one of our newest council members who is just beginning with us today. Mr. Herman, are you available to unmute?
I am. Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me? I guess so. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is John Grable Herman. Pronouns are he, him. I'm a parent of a kid at Manhattan High School, P35M. He's a junior now. I used to be on the CEC in District 1, and I'm very excited to be appointed by the public advocate to join this body. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, John.
Do we have any further members with questions? Tamar, I do have a question. Just it may stick, it may not. I know that there's a lot of budget cuts and things that are happening now with District 75. Is there an impact that'll happen with any SCA projects or things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, the budget cuts are certainly affecting most agencies, and we're not, we're not exempt from that. But in general, as you saw, we have a really healthy capital plan, though, and our focus on District 75 hasn't changed. In fact, we are, just in terms of accessibility, we've equal actually and plus for the new plan as the last plan. So that was really good news, and none of that was cut. And we hope that District 75 programs will be integrated into all our brand new schools the way that they have been going. So we haven't heard of any cuts in that area at all.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm looking, do I see any other council members with their hands up?
Denise Johnson is on.
Ms. Johnson, do you have a question?
I don't. I am so sick right now, but I'm just listening. I don't have a question.
I hope you feel better.
Okay,
well, with that
thank you.
With that being
Sorry,
said, Daniels, I'll hand it back over to you, and then we can move on to the public from the chat that's in the digitally chatted in, and then the hands that are raised. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Co-President Christy Angel. We have any did we get to ask the interpretation line if they have any questions, or we're not doing that part yet?
We can move to this space.
Spanish interpretation line, do you have any questions?
I will ask. No questions, ma'am.
Thank you. Mandarin interpretation line, do you have any questions? Can you check, please?
Hi, no questions from the Mandarin line also.
Okay, thank you. Christy, you want to proceed?
Yes, Tamar, I do have a question. Regarding last year, the top 5 things that we submitted, et cetera, are you able to speak toward where those items are right now, or what may be going on with what we submitted last year?
Actually, I thought, just correct me if I'm wrong, that you should have gotten a response from our SCA capital plan department. It's sounding like you didn't, but let me make a note.
List, but I didn't know if there was more information that you may be able to give the public in regard to. If not, we can make the list available on our website.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to do it. And any specific questions that you might have. And if you want to talk it over with me at any time, go over the list, ask any questions. I'm so sorry, I don't have the list in front of me right now. But I think that that's probably the best way, the most information at the moment. But if you look at it and have any specific questions about projects and maybe why they did or didn't get, looked at or moved forward, I'm happy to talk with you anytime.
We'll double back on that for sure.
Okay, sounds good.
There was something in the chat, I believe. You went through the Brooklyn slides and the breakdowns in that nature. Yes.
I did. Maybe
did you need would you like us to go back and repeat that, or would you like us to email that to you? I'm not sure if that's on the if she's still on the line, if they're on the line.
I'm noticing someone else asking for it to be emailed. Of course, you're free to email it to whoever would find it useful, any of your members.
Okay, Mrs. Muhota, are you able to unmute?
Yes, thank you very much. Good evening. I'm a parent, and I was looking at the figures, and I appreciate the presentation, Tamar. I wanted some clarification. Yes, at best, the budget seems flat, and a bit of redistribution among the different line items. However, and while that is commendable, given that other budget lines are being cut across the city, given the boom in population, and the expectation that we're going to have more needs, how does this really, the real impact of that staying flat on availability, access, and several other items that will be affected by a ballooning population? What is being put in place for that to stem that?
Well, thank you. Thank you for the question. Actually, in terms of the school system, the population has been declining, but it's New York City. We know that everything changes and can change fast. We suffered through the pandemic, but also there were some demographic downturns even before then. But you're right. You know, we always have to be looking to the future and making sure that we're not caught flat-footed, dealing with any time the population does start to go up again, and I'm sure it will. So what I want to point out is, as you say, things are fairly flat, and that is good. But if you look back, if you happen to look back at the first year of the current capital plan, the budget was a bit lower. And over the years of the 5-year plan, the budget increased. And so we're definitely hoping for a similar increase as we add projects, as you know, elected officials give their funding. So we you know, I guess there's no guarantees and there's no way to do that. But we're certainly hoping that over the years, if there are needs like you're pointing out, and the population does increase and begin to go up again, that there'll be more funding. So we are, you know, we can't make promises, but it has happened for the last 2 plans. So we're absolutely, you know, hoping that will happen again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for that question.
Do we have any additional questions on the line? Do we have any hands raised or in the chat?
Hello, I have a question for Ms. Smith.
Yes, ma'am.
The District 75 budget is supposed to be cut soon, approximately by close to $100 million. And once we receive the status of the budget cut and how much it's gonna be, how soon do we know, like how this is gonna affect the SCA plans for the schools who's applying for certain things to get fixed within their building, such as a new building, or they might be trying to renovate some stuff within a building they already have?
Well, I think what you're talking about is the separate budget for actually funding the programs. I think that's what you're meaning, because the SCA plan, the proposed plan that I'm talking about tonight, is the amount of money that's being proposed for this and is not planned to be cut. So you're right. You know, it could be that by the time it gets to the mayor, maybe there'll be some change. Occasionally there is, but we're not expecting the numbers that we're presenting tonight to change very much. There was a lot of negotiation before it was even created, lots of back and forth, and lots of, you know, hard-headed look at the fiscal realities that the city is facing. And these are the numbers that were come up with. And we do not anticipate those changing by the time the plan is approved by the mayor. So the numbers we're looking at now, we anticipate will be the numbers that are devoted to capital projects over the next 5 years.
Thank you. You answered my question. Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Sure.
Co-President Christy Angel.
I don't see any further comments in the chat below, and I don't see any hands raised. What I do want to say is, as I was speaking with another person that is involved with SCA, we are noticing that we are not getting the submissions that we had before. So I'm not sure how principals are submitting, but as council members, the ones who are available on the call now, we do need to make a push to make sure that we reach out to our principals and we get whatever submissions they may have before the deadline. Unfortunately, we do not have quorum, so we are not able to vote for our top 5, but that does not mean that we cannot continue to do the work before the deadline to make sure that everything that can be submitted is submitted. Haylene, do you have the link possibly to share in the chat? And if we could possibly share to the PDFs in the chat. If not, we will make that available on our website so that different members who attended or those who were not able to attend tonight can have access to the recording, to the presentation, and to the links that give available information. For those of you who have put your information in the email, Haylene, were you able to take down their email so that we can forward the presentations immediately?
I have one email provided. I need 2 more, so I'm in the process of chatting with them now.
Okay, perfect. Let's make sure we have, if you guys want this sent specifically to you now, I know that some people have asked for it immediately. Please put your emails in now, and we'll go ahead and make sure to share that with you outside of our website as well. Ms. Smith, we do want to say thank you again. Can we double check on the interpretation lines to see if we have any further comments on that line?
I'm going to do it right now. This is a Spanish interpreter. Just a sec. No woman.
All right. Do we have anything? So Spanish and Mandarin, we have
Yes, Mandarin line, there is no one with a question.
All righty. If there are no further questions on the Mandarin or Spanish lines, we can go ahead and release the interpreters at 6:47 p.m. And Haylene, let's take a moment for everyone who is, if we could screenshot or just make sure we save this on the back end so that we can send all of this out.
Yes, thank
I'm
you.
getting it, Christy, too. The emails, yes.
All righty. Let's take a moment so we can make sure that we capture all of this. And we do want to say currently, last year we had about, it was over about 600 submissions. If you break it down by school, that makes it a little bit less. However, right now we are definitely not near that number. So we want to make sure that any principals that are on, anyone that can help share this information and or our links, will be giving that push out again. Who did submit the capital plan? We can, Haylene, let me know when you're available, and then maybe we can pull up or we can go over briefly what we have that was submitted for the SCA. Honestly, it is very low this year. Maybe 12 schools submitted, which is very, very different than what we've experienced in the past couple of years. That's why we're going to have to do some emails and phone calls to just make sure we're covering every principal in school. Are we set with the chat, and are we able to, not to put you on the spot, Haylene, but are we able to pull up the list that we have for SCA, or at least to maybe?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna pause on then the saving of the emails. So I'll get that for you.
Okay, I'll start screenshotting so we can see some of this.
Screenshot it already, Christy. I'll check the chat.
Oh, thank you. Okay, all right, I'll do that.
Andrew covered.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay. Are we good?
Let's go down to the schools so we can see which schools. P36K, P224K, 723X, P12X, 596X, 75K 140, P993A, 75X 723, and 811X. If we go over to the responses, keep scrolling down, we can see what the priorities are that have been given. Bathroom walls are falling apart, PA system and panic buttons, they cannot be used on the 3rd floor, and the principal's office on the 1st and 3rd floor to keep everyone safe. An on-site outdoor storage solution. The school is in need of shipping containers that is structurally sound, waterproof, windproof, and vermin-proof to store supplies. We have 2 cafeterias for our main site, and students do not have adequate and updated seating. This upgrade would have students waiting to sit in an enticing lunchroom environment. The cafe is in desperate need of an update, and as this space is used for multiple purposes. The gym and auditorium are spaces where all schools in the building come together and true inclusion takes place. Redesign room 219 in a multimedia pre-vocational workspace for our module school students. Can we scroll down? To the additional responses once we get past, there we go. We also have floor tiles coming up, rusted stalls, divider for shared gyms. If we can, while we scroll through this in a moment when we're done, can we make sure to share the list or Co-President Daniels, if you could find the link, if we could put that in the email, or we can, in the chat, or we can do that once we review. We have a divider for a shared gym for D75 students so that they can have access instead of having gym held out in the hallway. We have 1 auditorium for our main site and students who don't have adequate and updated seating, lighting, nor audio. This upgrade would have students waiting to engage in student performance and assemblies in an enticing engagement. New children's bathroom on floor 3, and there are 6 in total. Room 117, redesign equipment upgrade and electricity upgrade to turn the space into a more functional room for our pre-vocational cooking program. There are warped floors and tiles. This is bathrooms that need to be redesigned. And council members, as we go through, Haleen, if you can make sure as these come in that we can maybe make this document live and available for council members so that you can see what is coming in. We typically will go through and give our top 5 recommendations, depending on accessibility, depending on if there's like wiring or things that are very emergent and dangerous that we need to go ahead and look into. We want to pull these things onto the top of the list. But these are the things and the items that have been coming in so far. And as you see at the top, there's only 13 responses. Each school does get 4 different responses that they get to put in for priorities. So we are really looking for our principals to contribute and let us know what their schools need so that we can be a part of the voice to assist in getting these things done. Haleen, could you scroll down a bit more? Alrighty, so this is updates to cabinets, ADL rooms, including the new refrigerators. They have an outdated gym and the upgrades that would support the different events where that are held in the gym, including physical education and instruction. And they need to update the main playground site that is broken and needs to be updated. There's an outside courtyard, basketball court renovation with new multi-purpose flooring, equipment, renovation to the playground, and flooring for all year use. They're requesting capital funding for a comprehensive renovation of the ADL vocational cooking room, which is integral to curriculum focus on activities of daily living and vocational training. Our current facility is lacking several key areas, hindering our ability to provide effective and inclusive culinary education. The renovation will transform this space into a functional prep kitchen, mirroring the real world culinary environments to better prepare students for post-secondary opportunities in the culinary field. As the Special Education District 75 school, they cater to diverse student bodies and individuals. Haylene, what I would like to do, if we can pull this into a spreadsheet at minimum, so we can get this out to our council members so that they can see what's coming in real time, we can make it accessible to all council members so that they can just log on, honestly. So we can talk about that.
Okay.
This might be a little bit easier to go through in a different list form, but let's go ahead and press ahead just so that we can get some of the items that were submitted to us just out so that we council members are aware of what is here for us. Additional responses: we are missing a stage and wall divider. We actually saw this, the PA system and panic buttons that can be used for the principals, the funding for the comprehensive and capital, new flooring. This may, apologies, we don't have this in a spreadsheet form currently right now, but what we can do, just so that all members and all of the public who wants to know what the finalized list is and what this current list looks like, we can pull this together and have it available on the website. And we will also send it to council members so that you can know what is currently on here. We may not get a lot of requests, but we do want to make sure that we do vocalize on behalf of the principals who have submitted. And thank you, Haylene, for sharing. Can we just, Co-President Daniels, can we make sure that we have,
I can't find the link. That's why I was raising my hand. They want the link for that form in the chat.
Okay, give me one moment. Let me see if I can do that. We have a hand that's also raised. That's you. Okay, hold on one second, guys. I'll be right back. If you can find it, Haylene, could you assist me? I'm going to try to look on my email as well.
Is this pertaining to the surveys that we just went over? You want me to share the link?
They want the
Yes, please. If we could share the survey link so that this can be shared out. Yes,
Okay.
yes. Thank you so much. And once we do that, thank you everyone for your time and coming and asking your questions and being here for the presentation. Thank you again, Ms. Smith. The link has been provided to the document. We will make sure to push this back out on the website in addition to social media. We do have all of the emails, so thank you again for your time. If there are any further questions, please do not hesitate to email us at d75council@schools.nyc.gov. I just want to double check council members and audience if there are any last questions that we have. Okay, seeing none, we will make sure to follow up on the list availability and to send out the emails to those requesting, and we will adjourn our meeting. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn the meeting.
All righty, we will be adjourning our meeting at 6:58 p.m. Again, Ms. Smith, thank you for your presentation. Thank you all for your attention and for your questions tonight. Everyone do have a great night. And our next meeting is on the 17th of this month. We will have our actual business and calendar meeting. It is joint for this month, so we do look forward to seeing you guys there. Thank you so much and take care.